Sneak peek of Camtasia Studio 8. We're so glad that you're here. Before we get going and show you all the great things that Camtasia 8 is going to provide, a couple things. On the webpage where you're chatting, there's a form to put in an email address. You need to do this because we're going to send you a free copy of Camtasia Studio 8. So you want to make sure you get that in. And again, thank you for joining us. Again, before we get started, one last thing. We are so glad to have you here, and we hope that you share out that you are getting a chance to see this and you get to share your feelings and thoughts. We're asking that you please hold back on sharing any of the features that we show you today. This is really an exclusive peek, but we do want to have you hold back a little bit before we go out with the actual launch. So with that said, if you have any questions, of course, check the email. You can always email the folks that contacted you about joining us. So with that said, I'd like to introduce the Camtasia Studio Product Manager, Shane Lavelle. Shane, welcome. We're so glad to have you here showing us off Camtasia Studio 8. I think we're all really excited because this is going to be a fantastic thing. So before we get into feature by feature kind of lowdown of what's new, what we've changed, what was the kind of goal and focus of this release?
Well, the goal and focus really was to understand what customers are trying to do with screencasting and what is really going to be the next level of screencasting. There's been a lot of change in technology. There's been a lot of change in how people are interacting with their computers, how they're using devices, and what they want to do with video content now. And so when we looked at that and we looked at our experience from having Camtasia Studio out for the past 11 years, doing the Mac platform and building that product for Camtasia for Mac, and understanding and learning a lot of the capabilities that the Mac platform brought to us, allowed us to really re-evaluate our underlying technology and engine that we had built Camtasia Studio on, our foundation. And we realized that we really couldn't take the next step and really evolve the product to where it needed to be without replacing and rebuilding that entire foundation. So that's really the goal of Camtasia Studio 8, really started us to be able to replace that foundation, create a foundation that'll last for a long time into the future, and this is really just the start for us. There's a lot of great new features in Camtasia Studio 8, so it's not just about the technology behind the scenes at all. We're solving a lot of great problems and doing it faster and easier than ever before, but it also is just the start for us. So we want to continue this story and really, once we get it out, understand from our customers and users what we can continue to evolve, but really take it to the next level.
So I love this idea that this is a start. So let's give everyone a sneak peek of what some kind of things they can do with the product.
Absolutely. We've got a great video that we've put together as an example. This is an example of a video you might do about your website to highlight some key features and that kind of thing related to NASA. So let's go ahead and show that. And this was created all with the new Camtasia Studio 8.
SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket.
This is the supermassive black hole at the center of NGC 4151. The dark object in the middle is the black hole. Surrounding it,
So that's an example of that video, and this video also has interactive features that you can use to the hotspot capability to be able to jump to these different types of videos. If I click on that, it takes me right to that video where I can watch that full video of that launch, jump back, go into the full video of the black hole, be able to review that entire thing, jump back. So it allows you to really create a new way to leverage video to help people understand and learn about what's available on your website and your application and all those kinds of things. So let me go ahead and pause that now.
At first, anyone that's out there, hopefully you've seen this and seen some of the things that it can do. This is absolutely fantastic. As someone who makes screencasts, I am so excited. But let's get into some of the details here. So now we want to bring out our lead developer for Camtasia Studio, Dave O'Rourke. Dave, come on and join us here. Dave is really representing a whole group of people who have spent a lot of time and effort to build this new version of Camtasia Studio. So Dave, thank you for joining us. Thanks for representing your team today.
Thanks.
We're all very happy to have you here. So let's start off. Shane talked about this is the idea that we're moving into the future. We're rebuilt some things. So let's go through the product and where some of the things that we started with to really rethink and redo.
Well, one thing is the recorder. So that's a good place to start. We have a brand new codec. We call it TSC2. It is blazing fast. What that gives us is super smooth recordings, great footage to start with. On the strength of TSC2, we've upped the default recording frame rate from 15 up to 30 FPS. So again, you're going to start with great footage.
So you can see that in Shane's preview video, but we have an example here. So why don't you set this up for us, and then we'll have Kelly play it.
Sure. So I took a video that I played full screen. I had a 1080p screen, and I recorded that in CS7 and in CS8, and we're going to look at the difference side by side.
So CS7 used our old codec, CS8 Camtasia Studio 8 uses the new one, right?
Yep.
All right.
So you should be able to see the difference in the kind of quality you can get.
Awesome. Kelly, if you want to play that for us, we'll cut to that clip. All right, so that you can see the stunningness, just how clear and crisp that is. And so can I expect that with almost any type of content, or?
Yeah, that's the beauty of the new codec, is it doesn't matter what type of content you throw at it. So with our previous version, if you threw this type of content at it, it really would choke and stutter. It was great for, our old codec was great for screen recordings, of websites or PowerPoint or things like that. And we've still got that kind of quality with our new codec as well. So really anything you want to throw at it, you don't have to touch it at all. It's just gonna be there for you. It's gonna give you great quality to start.
Well, that's awesome. So, but recording is really only part of the story, because we all want to record good content, and we know that's the base for making a great video. But there's, usually I just don't capture something and say that's perfect, because I make mistakes when I say stuff or whatever. So, what else do we have that we've updated in Camtasia?
Right, so the editor has a brand new engine in it, brand new render engine, and that gives us the kind of performance that we need to deliver some of the features that you're going to see here. One of the things that lets us get there on the engineering side is we're leveraging the GPU now. So that's
for those that don't know what that is?
Yeah, right. So that's the graphics card, and for years it's been true that you can play games on your computer, and most people know that it's a very 3D immersive environment. We're bringing some of that power to the desktop and to Camtasia Studio 8. So it's really amazing what you can do if you're leveraging both the CPU and the GPU. And we're really excited that that's going to make Camtasia Studio scale with your hardware. So if you have a nicer machine, it's going to run faster. And that's really awesome.
Fantastic. So, but with that performance, it means we could also do a lot more actually in the product, a lot more to make it more robust and easier to use, correct?
Yeah, exactly. We've got, on the timeline here, we've got multi-track editing now. So that's been a request for a long time, and we're finally able, with the new performance, to deliver that feature. And it's really fantastic. And the things you can do with that are just almost unlimited.
The beauty of it really is that it supports multiple different types of video now, so you can layer video on top of each other. Before, our performers just wouldn't have been able to support that kind of video content if you wanted to bring it in with your screen content, mix in some real-world camera footage video. have some video clips that help support whatever you're trying to communicate to your audience and build that out. And as you saw in the NASA video, we can do that simply by layering those videos on our new multi-track timeline, and you can easily resize and adjust things right on your canvas too. So you can set those up and layer them however you want. As I've got, that black hole video, and here's that NASA or that rocket launch video. You can move that around really easy, line that up with the other ones, and be able to position that wherever you want, and then resize even screen video content of your application and have this all existing within the same content on the screen at the same time.
Very cool. I also noticed that the tracks look like they're more generic, so multiple audio tracks, because I know some people, that's one thing, we had limited tracks before, so that's fantastic. Yep. Shane, you mentioned that this idea of there's this multiple videos, so there's some changes we've done to the library as well, correct?
Absolutely. And the library now, we've just chocked it full of content that you can use right out of the gate with Camtasia Studio. So we've got 14 different sets of themed assets, and the themed assets really allow you to create great looking content that's all designed to match together. You get beautiful animated backgrounds that you can use and have that going behind the scenes, so you've got a nice background behind your content. You can have text on those. You've got some really nice new callouts, and these callouts are designed to match all the animated backgrounds. Some new types of callouts, such as banner style, that allow you to add 2 types of text to a single callout to be able to have those kinds of things. Here's another example. And these look really good when you layer them over some screen content. They almost can attach to windows and things like that. And then here's another example. So they've already been designed to match color-wise, look good like you created them, and spent a lot of time making those, but they just look really professional and polished. So for example, the out of sight, I think, was the, or exposed features is the one we used here with the NASA video. Really cool kind of style of animated background that just adds a lot more engagement to your content when you're, got some motion, got some action happening on the screen, because screen content, let's face it, often is pretty boring stuff, two-dimensional. So this allows you to really create some much richer experience in watching that.
Kick it up a notch.
Exactly.
Awesome. So that's great that we've added these things. So let's get more into some of the timeline things, because for me, there's lots of power here in the timeline that I think hopefully all of you out there are going to really appreciate and enjoy. So let's talk about, I saw in your preview videos there's lots of things moving around, and these are animations, correct, Dave?
Yeah, you can animate anything, any visual media on your canvas there. You can have them fly in, you can have them spin out. You could see all those things in the demo video we showed you. And you can see as Shane is working with the canvas, you get snapping guidelines there too. So it really helps you quickly, maneuver things around. You can move things off of the canvas. You couldn't do that before, and have them sort of fly in from the side or wherever. So it really gives you the flexibility and to sort of unlock your creative vision.
Yeah, I think the thing that's interesting is just how fast. I mean, I know you're not doing a final product here, but
The dark
just how
object
fast
in the
you're
middle
doing
is
this
the
thing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. You just can pick any object you want in the canvas. It's on the timeline. You just position that where you want it to start from, like I did it with this call out. So you can animate a call out, for example. It's actually starting off screen here. I added this animation. I can adjust the length of it. It's a little blue dot and it has a tail. I can adjust how long I want that to animate, and then you position it where you want it to end, and now when I play that through, I can have it rotating, again, flying in like that, and it just takes, while you guys are talking, a few seconds to be able to add those kinds of animations. Mm-hmm. And the great thing about the library then too is if you do create some really nice callouts that you animate a really nice way, again, you can go and say, I want to add this asset to the library so I can use it over and over again in future projects, and everything you add to the library can be reused, and then when I add that again to my timeline, in a future project or even this one, it still has that same animation already added to it. So sorry let me mute the audio there so we're not getting that. And you can do this with, the great thing too is you can do this with video. Let me delete that one. And so it's not just about the callouts. I can animate actual video clips. So if I wanted to take this one, for example, and I've got that selected here on my timeline, and let's say I'm going to start this over here off the screen, and I'm going to go to a new tab, which we call Visual Properties. Just add an animation, adds that blue dot. I'm going to extend that out, make it a little bit longer, and then I just, at this point, pick my finished position, And I'm going to slide that right in there, and I'm going to actually rotate this along the x-axis so you can get some more of that three-dimensional feel with your video content too, to be able to do that. And go around one more time here.
So really your abilities are limited by your imagination and what you want to look like.
Exactly.
And of course, you want to use some style here. You don't want to throw everything at it, but it's still, it looks like it's so easy to do and make it look good.
Right, so now we can watch this animation as this video clip will rotate into and land at that spot. And it's that fast, right? We're just, less than a minute to be able to do that kind of animation and add that to your content and really make it look professional.
So let's talk real quick transitions, because I know that's something that's changed, something that, in the old model of Camtasia Studio, they weren't exactly transitions as people expected them to be. So Dave, tell us a little bit about the transitions.
Right. We had transitions. We've had them for forever, it seems like. And we started off with screen video. And really, we started off with the idea that it shouldn't, break up it shouldn't cause your video to be any different, okay? But what the transition actually did is it would go in between your video. There was a break in the audio. The end product wasn't very seamless. We would do an image transition in between, two video clips, and during that time the audio was silent. So in CS8 we've really improved that a lot. Transitions work the way you normally see them on television or something like that, where both videos are playing during the transition. The audio does not lose sync when you add a transition. So if you do things, if you want to do your audio editing first and then move on to the video, Camtasia Studio won't be fighting you in that case. So we think it's a lot smoother workflow and a lot nicer result.
Awesome. So there's another feature I want to talk about because I love. It's this idea of combining some of these things together. So we've got callouts, and then you've got the animations, but then there's something. Tell us about grouping. So that's something completely new concept. Like we talked about things, these are kind of like we've seen them sort of in Camtasia before. But what's grouping?
Right. So grouping is a very powerful feature. It works in the Canvas space. It works just like something like PowerPoint would work, where you're going to take multiple clips, you're going to group them together, and then if you want to animate them or move them together, or as Shane's showing right now, cover something up with a pixelate or a blur. And then you want to actually animate that thing. You can move them together. Just group them and then animate the group. So we've really taken that to a whole nother level. You can think of it, like timelines within a timeline if you want to. But in the Canvas, it's really just as simple as group these things together, treat them as a unit, and then you can add animations on top of that if you want to.
Right, so here's that group. I've put a pixelate call out over that. Say you've got a logo you need to blur out or pixelate out, or some personal identifiable information you got to blur out. That happens a lot in screen recording, right? And so I've got that covering up that logo now. Let's say now that I want to animate this whole thing because I want to zoom in on that. So if I go to my visual properties and add an animation here, and now I'm going to scale, I'm going to scale this up and zoom in on that.
I'm just, even as if I don't know how well you can see it on screen, but as you move that clip around that video, you can see the pixelate actually goes with it even.
Exactly. So it allows you to do that kind of movement, and that pixelate stays right there with that content. So you know what, I actually added it to the wrong, I grouped it with the wrong video, but you get the idea there.
Absolutely.
What happens.
So before we go on to a couple other things, the production wise, because obviously this is you can do lots of cool stuff in editing. There's things we haven't even had time to show you yet, but you want to be able to produce your videos out. So what's anything different on the production side?
Yep.
Yeah, on the production side, we've really simplified we've got share to screencast, share to YouTube, and we've really simplified the produce and share options. So now basically we've broken that down to 4 key options. You can go SD, HD, and with a player or without a player. So that way your content is guaranteed to play on different devices, and make sure that works. If they support HD, then you're getting that with the video player. But we also have the ability, if you go to the custom path, to be able to actually, with the player, set your embed size. So part of the output, you can set a video size here, and you can set a specific embed size for your content, as well as the original video size, so that when they You want to embed it smaller, but when they go full screen with that content as a viewer, they see that in perfect quality, really good quality still, not just a scaled down version that then scaled up and you get really pixelated and grainy and it doesn't look good. So you can now specify that, especially in the scenario where you want to host that content yourself.
Fantastic. So on here, we've got faster recording, better recording. We've got a faster engine, so you're going to see your edits. The other thing I don't think we mentioned is that you're not going to see the lag. If you know, it's actually a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you're going to get.
Right.
We've got cool new timeline features, including grouping. You've got new callouts, new animations. There's a ton of stuff. Here, let's have you step over Shane a little bit. Dave, come on back in so you can drive as we talk about this. So this is only part of it, right? So we got this idea of these things you can do. The editor, it's faster, it's more powerful, it's going to grow with your system. Well, what's next?
What's next is when you got to get this content out, right? So you really got to get this out and be able to share your content with your viewers. And so we talked a little bit about the production wizard, but the great thing is we've made it so that you can view your content anywhere. So with one production, one video, you can view that content. And we've done that with what we're calling our TechSmith Smart Player. So that allows your content to be able to play on any device. It's smart in the sense that it detects the device the viewer's using, the browser the viewer's using, and it automatically delivers that content in the best possible way for that device or that browser.
So one second, before we go too far, because this is really important. So when you mean, say, player, you mean the controls, right?
Yep, the controls, exactly, that allow that video to play back for that viewer. So a browser's got to have some kind of playback technology to be able to play that back. It may be HTML5 if the browser supports that, where it's kind of built into the browser, or it may leverage the Flash player, which is an installed component that is really broad penetration for desktops, but obviously is not supported on a lot of iOS devices, for example, where HTML5 is the standard for video playback on those devices.
Okay, so it's going to play everywhere, right?
Correct. Yep.
Awesome.
Exactly. So do we want to show that?
Let's go on. So, but it's really not just about everywhere, right? Because everywhere is, I think lots of people are doing HTML5 and can go in a lot of places.
Correct.
So what more is it?
So the key difference here for us really is, you can do that other places, but we really are interested in taking that video and making it much more than a viewing experience and turning that into a much more engaging, interactive experience for the viewer. So that goes with captions and table of contents and hotspots that you can add. And the thing is with those now, they work on all those devices as well. So if you're viewing it on your iPad, the viewer can actually tap those hotspots in the NASA video and be able to jump to those video spots.
So let's get that up here. So we've got a couple devices here. Let me swipe in. So I've got the same video we showed earlier, I believe, right?
This is the iPad, and Dave's got a Transformer Android-based tablet.
So if we push play, right?
Yep. Go ahead and play, and there's the video playing on iOS. The same video we showed at the beginning. That's just
I'm just going to try to move ahead. So it looks like
video clip, or one produced video. It's hosted on screencast.com. And then that same video again playing on the Android tablet. So you got controls, playback, and
got to get to the point where
if you can get up ahead to where we can show off the. There you go.
So now I can click on these.
So you tap the hotspot, boom,
it jumps
ahead to that video. You can tap the back on that and jump back to that point in the video where we have the navigation. You can even do the white one. We'll go ahead and take you to there's a quiz built in too, and that you can do. So you get all that interactivity, which we're going to talk about as well.
Great.
Beyond just video playback. So again, it's really turning these devices, especially when they're a touch device, it's a much more interactive experience to be able to actually interact with that video content on the device rather than it just being a sit back and watch it. And that way you can actually engage your viewer and be able to deliver them more content, more engaging information around the content beyond just what's just sitting back and trying to watch the video.
So you can play everywhere, you can interact everywhere. With all the same great features, like we mentioned, table contents, hotspots. The table contents is searchable if you have captioning in there.
That's
you can
correct.
find data.
Yep.
But it seems like you mentioned this idea. It's about more than just interaction. It's really about that engagement. So what are we doing on that front to really allow people to engage their audiences?
Well, that's where the engagement we really focused on, taking our quizzing and really making that possible on all these new devices on HTML5 and Flash with all the new technology. But we wanted to make that really work well. It doesn't, today's version just does not work that well. There's a lot of issues with how it gets reported. And so the quizzing is more than just quizzing too. It's a way for a content creator to really have a conversation, engage with the viewer, to be able to get feedback about what they're, about that content. So you can ask your viewers questions about, what kinds of devices do they use, or questions related to the content that's not a quiz per se that you're going to grade. But quizzing as well allows you to grade and get scores, and the great thing about that is they can take that on the iPad, they can take it on the Android tablet. It doesn't matter what device your viewer is using. They'll be able to take it on their mobile devices as well, or the desktop, and then the results of that are automatically reported back to you through email. And it's behind the scenes, it's automatic. The viewer doesn't have to do anything to make that happen. Content creator, you create your content, put in your email, it's done. And when you host to screencast.com, you can host it, or you can host it yourself, or you can embed it anywhere. The quizzing works. And you start to get email reports on a daily basis that summarize the results of that quiz as there's new results. So there's no learning management system necessary. We do still support SCORM, but if you just want to get these results sent to you, and it's 2 CSV files, there's a summary report that gives you the high-level details of scoring, and then there's a detailed report that gives you the individual answers of each person that's taken the quiz, how they did. And not only that, it actually shows you how much of the video content they've watched. So as a content creator, are they understanding the content by the quiz score, and are they doing that because they're watching the content or not? So if they're not, they're doing poorly, they can actually, you can see that they haven't watched the content, so maybe that's why they're not doing very well on the quiz. If you're an educator, a teacher, or even a trainer, you want to understand those kinds of things. But the beauty of that too is that you don't have to do anything. It's just done for you.
So that's an add-on, right? You have to buy that in addition to Camtasia, it seems like, 'cause that's a lot.
Nope. That's the great thing about it too, is that's just free. It's part of using Camtasia Studio. It just works, and there's no additional cost. It's a free reporting service.
So what I'm hearing is it plays everywhere, you can interact anywhere, and you can get this engagement. So, because that was a big limitation. As soon as I put my video on one of these other devices, I knew I was going to lose my hotspots. I was going to lose this. And then I'm getting the data back about how long they've watched the video for, how they did on my questions that I have asked them. Because I can imagine, for educators, quizzing is fantastic, but maybe even trainers, but for others, if you want to do like your marketing video and you want to collect emails, or you want to collect data about your viewer, right?
Sign up here, give us your email address, we'll send you a special offer, or give us your email address and we'll send you more information. So you can use that quizzing piece as a way to collect that kind of information and have them sign up for things as a call to action, and then you're getting that sent to you on a daily basis.
I have to say that to me that just blows me away that's just built into Camtasia and making your videos. So we are going to make sure we want to answer all your guys' questions coming up here in just a second. So before we go to another video, which we probably need to make sure it's ready to go, we'll need to unmute it as well. Is there Dave and Shane, is there anything else that you guys have thought of during this process that you feel like, wow, we need to show this off before we show the video, which again, kind of highlights some of the key features that we want to talk about, and then we'll get to your guys' questions.
Well, I think one other thing I'd like to mention is about the library is the music. So we've really expanded the music tracks. So there'll be a certain set that we ship in the product, but you'll be able to get a lot more online through the Get Media link within the library. So there's a whole bunch of additional audio tracks that you can go get and download and add to. So you can have up to, I think we have 40 total tracks.
Wow.
And then each one of those tracks has got multiple variations of different lengths. So it makes it easy for you to match your content, your audio to your content. And music really helps drive video content. It just adds another level of engagement and engages the viewer to make them watch it more, especially for more of the demo style and marketing style videos.
Absolutely. Dave, anything else you wanted to mention?
Yeah, just one thing on the editor performance. So one of the things you should notice right away with CS8 is it just hangs right there with you. I mean, it's very responsive as you're working with the timeline. If you move things underneath the playhead, not even moving the playhead, it's going to update the preview in real time. So you're always creating in the preview window what your final output is going to be. So it's a WYSIWYG experience, and we really think that lets you sort of just work on your project and really get that creativity out into your final video.
Fantastic. Shane?
I was just going to say that our team just wanted to thank our team because they've done
Absolutely.
such a fantastic job on creating this. And the other thing about it is the great thing about it now is it's so much fun to actually work with it. You know, before you'd struggle through a little bit and run into some roadblocks here and there, but now it's you get in there, and the more you spend working in it, the more fun it is, and the more things you can do, and it really you start to think about all kinds of new opportunities of ways that you can create and modify and tweak your content. So it just does what you expect it to do now.
Absolutely. So we're going to watch this other video. This is, again, examples of things you could possibly do with Camtasia Studio 8. Look closely because there's some things in there that actually Shane put this together, showed it to the entire company Monday morning, and I was blown away by some of the effects. I'm still trying to figure out how he did them. But we'll go to this, we'll watch this, and we'll come back, and we've got some questions to answer. We'll be right back.
All right, here we go.
All right, fantastic video. Again, some of those cool features showing off there, I think, in there kind of in a quick way. So we've got questions from you guys. Our moderation team in the chat room is taking your guys' questions, and so we can see those. So here's what we've got here. So first question, Shane, this
Yep.
is one's for you. What about Mac? How many of these features are coming to the Mac, and is parity a goal for you guys?
Well, to be honest, there's several of the features that are already there in Mac that we're actually pulling in and adding to the Windows from what we've learned from running on the Mac platform. So this whole idea of animations and being able to animate any kind of content that already exists in the Mac version, you can do that today. But we are looking at learning from both platforms and trying to leverage what we can from each into the other platform. And as much as we can, move in the direction of being able to have a similar experience on both platforms. That's not going to be technically possible all the time, and it takes a lot of time to be able to do that. There's certain capabilities available in the Mac platform that are just there. Same thing on Windows. Some things are just easier there. So we have to kind of take advantage of what you can do on the platform as well and balance that with trying to make a smooth, great experience across them both.
I know, as someone who's speaking who uses a Mac and PC, that I think, from my perspective, I think you guys have done a fantastic job that making that transition back and forth or one way to the other is going to be a lot easier. So.
I can say one other thing about that. We will be releasing a new Mac minor version with at the same time as we release Camtasia Studio 8. That'll be Camtasia Mac 2.2. And that will have the TextMist Smart Player built into it as well, so you get that same kind of content sharing across any device. And we're adding the interactivity with that release as well, so the interactive hotspots you will get with Camtasia Mac 2.2. So we're moving in that direction to help start being able to create more of that interactive experience through the Mac platform as well.
Fantastic. So you heard that here too first. Okay, let's go on to our next question. Hi, Fred. This is from one of our moderators in Get Satisfaction, Fred Grover. Dave, this is a dangerous question for you because I know you can go on for a while on codecs, but what is the difference or changes in the TSCC codec compared to the TSC2 codec? How is it better? How is it a better performance and quality-wise?
So quality, couple of things. TSCC is lossless, which means it's exactly the same pixels as were on your screen. TSC2 is lossy, which means we are sacrificing a little bit of quality. But if you compare them side by side, you can try it. You're going to need a magnifying glass to see the difference. I mean, it is that good. So TSC2 is excellent quality, not lossless, but perfect, almost perfect quality. As far as performance, we went right down to the chip level. We have chip level optimizations for both Intel and AMD chips. Don't worry about that. So we have actually in the most performance critical sections of the codec, we have several different versions, a few different versions of that are picked at runtime to give you the best performance. I tried a quick test just to give you a ballpark. I have two screens. Each one runs at 1600 by 1200. I recorded them both with two different videos playing full screen. So this is greater than 1080p. And with Aero turned off, because Aero puts an artificial cap on us for the capture frame rate, I was getting 60 FPS. So that's pretty amazing. It's really excellent performance. So.
And the great thing about that is it's not just performance, it's also smaller file sizes. TSCC, if you were recording content on your screen like that globe and animating that globe around, your file size was just going to balloon because it was lossless.
Right,
and so now we're able to capture that kind of content and keep those file sizes much smaller. Right,
and that was the root of a lot of other problems. If you had recordings that go 1, 2, 3 gigabytes, not only is that difficult to move around, but it increases the chances that you're going to run out of space or have some other problem during recording. So I'm really excited about the codec. That's a passion of mine anyway, as you could probably tell. But the best part about it is you don't have to touch it. You just get it by default. So it just works, and we're really excited to bring that to CS8.
Absolutely. So next question. So again, Dave, this one might be for you. If you have some money to spend on a new machine, where should you focus your spend? Which components give you the biggest bang for the buck? So you want to make the most out of Camtasia. You get a new machine. Where do you focus?
Well, that's a great question, and we're gonna post some technical details probably in our feedback site. So the main change is that we're going to use everything you have. We're going to use your CPU. So if you've got more cores, that's great because we're multi-threaded. It's going to each core is going to be able to decompress video separately. So multiple cores will help you. A nice graphics card will help you. We'll put more details on our feedback site and post some technical details. But in general, what the message I want to convey is that we're going to scale with your hardware. So more cores is better. A nicer graphics card is going to be better, and more memory too. So you know, if you have it, we're going to use it, and that's a great thing to be able to say.
Awesome. So beef up everyone. Everyone can go beef up their machines right now, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so question for Shane, for maybe this one's for a good one for you. Can you clarify which destinations support hotspots and quizzing? So if you're going to put this out, we say everywhere. You know, everywhere's pretty broad.
Yeah, right. So if you go to screencast.com, which is our TechSmith's media hosting solution, that's a super easy way to go. You can share it there. All that's supported on screencast.com. So you get the hotspots, quizzing, plus table of contents, all the search, everything else. And then if you host it yourself with the player, so you can host it on your own website and put we produce out of Camtasia Studio. We're going to give you everything you need for the player code as well as your video. And then if you put that on your website, then you can have that rich interactivity also supported wherever you're hosting that content. You can also, if you host on Screencast, use the embed and embed that content anywhere. You could embed it in Google Sites and then the interactivity works. You can embed it on other sites where you can embed use embed code to embed that content, and the interactivity will work as part of that video. It will not work on YouTube.
Right.
So I'd make that clear that YouTube does not support any kind of interactivity that comes in. You can't access their kind of interactive features at all through their API. It's all got to be done through their site, and they don't allow you to link anywhere but within YouTube. So you can't actually link outside of YouTube at all for any of their within the video stuff.
So really, it's probably safe to say third-party hosting sites, Vimeo, YouTube, they have their own controls that are not they're not built for the interactivity where Screencast is. So
correct.
But everywhere, we're really talking everywhere. These types of devices, Android, iOS.
You know, the interesting thing too is actually even on iPhone. If I don't know how familiar people are, but iPhone normally will play back their video content with its own embedded player. It doesn't allow any other playback. It doesn't use HTML5 to actually play back video content. It has its own player, so all video content gets played that way. But we are releasing a TechSmith version of the TechSmith Smart Player as an iOS app. And so any content that your viewers tried to access through an iPhone to be able to play that back, they're going to get prompted, whether that's on Screencast or whether you hosted it yourself, to play with the TechSmith Smart Player. And when they select that, it'll take them right to the App Store to download it. That's a free app, so they can get it really easily. And then it'll play back in that Smart Player app. But when I play that content, then you also get all that rich interactivity on the iPhone, which is a very unique functionality because you can't do it through their native player at all. So now here's that NASA video. I can play that video right here from on the iPhone through the TechSmith Smart Player, and you get that same interactive experience. I don't know if you can see that.
Probably can't see it.
Probably can't see it, but if I move ahead here and try and get to where the hotspots are, you can tap and have the hotspots work just like they do. If I hit that back button, they jump right back to that same thing. So you get all that rich interactivity on the iPhone interaction as well. So again, the great thing is you don't have to worry about, as a content creator, how your viewers want to access your content. You don't have to worry about, if they're going to do it on an iPhone, or how many iPhone users do I have, or how many Android users.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter. Your content will just work, and you can use that make your content really rich and interactive.
Fantastic. Yep. All right, next question. How does Camtasia Studio 8 integrate with Camtasia Relay? Anything changed? And things like quizzing, what about stuff like quizzing and hotspots?
Right, so quizzing and hotspots is not supported. The main thing that's changed is, again, back to the codec, we're using TSC2 for the video that we upload to Relay. What that means is it's going to be a smaller file. It's going to upload faster, so that they will just work smoother, but the basic integration is the same as it was before.
Okay, great. So here's a fun one. What about ASIO, green screen, my favorite features that didn't get into this release?
That's why we're just starting, right? So this is not the end state. We've got a whole bunch of stuff that we really want to do and add into the product as well, but now that we've laid down this great foundation with Camtasia Studio 8, gives us the ability to be able to add these kinds of features. So these will all be things that we're looking for to try and figure out what's best for our next step. And so please share your feedback. Let us know like that. I need ASIO, green screen, and it really helps us understand if you can explain a little bit more about the problem you're trying to solve. Why do you need these features, and what does it mean to you? And that'll help us better design those features to really make them solve your problems well.
Yeah, I think one of the takeaways I hope everyone out there takes away, from my perspective at least, is that you guys have done a great job building a foundation. And like Shane, as you said, Shane, this is just the beginning. And so hopefully these things become easier to build than building off of a legacy kind of platform that was, a little long in the tooth maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got the foundation now, and we can do a lot of things in the future. So we want to hear from you. What's most important to you? What would you like to see next? So yeah, let us know.
All right, the inevitable question: when is CS8 going to be out?
Dun, dun, dun. No. So we will be releasing on June 19th. So that's next week, next Tuesday. And that's when it goes live. And that also, like I mentioned, will be the Camtasia for Mac 2.2 release will happen at the same time. So that's the big day coming very soon.
All right. So I think some other things that as I've been watching you guys talk about these things and listening, I don't. It's hard to express everything that goes into release because I mean this really is a brand new version of Camtasia Studio. I've been playing with it, and I hope when you guys get your copy, you're going to go and play with it as well. But there are things in there that, it's like, I had no idea. For instance, small things like that, you can change the background color of your canvas.
Yep, you can do that now. It's right in the editing dimensions dialog, which pops up when you first, we can show it. It pops up when you first add something to the timeline. Another thing would be blank space on the timeline. Now that's just natural and normal and expected with a multi-track editor. Being able to drag clip speed. So before, we had clip speed before, but we have this nice new drag interaction which lets you, expand or shorten clips to fit a hole or to fill a gap. So it's really, lots of little things that we think we've improved. The animations on the timeline give you, just little visual clues and hints about, what's happening and what you're doing to your video. When you collapse and expand groups, they sort of slide up. So it's just little, those little polished things that sometimes make a difference.
So I think as you guys are going through it, don't be surprised if you find things we haven't talked about today because there are so many cool little features that are just in there and things that maybe you're used to from if you worked with previous versions of Camtasia Studio, but now they just work that much better.
Right.
Yeah, like one of the things that's really nice now too is you can actually apply transitions. Well, transitions don't change your view. For one, they don't affect your sync at all, so they just go right over your video the way you've laid it out on your timeline. And the other great thing is you can apply transitions now to callouts too, so you can get some really nice effects, not just fade, but you can add some really nice effects to different types of callouts as well, which the transitions, it really opens up some new opportunity to explore. And actually in the library, we add callouts to each of the, or add transitions to each of the callouts, so you can have one just automatically already applied to a callout when you drop it on there. If you like that, great. If you don't, then you can go and explore some of the other transitions. And some of those transitions are new as well. So they're not the same transitions. We've added a few really nice new transitions as well.
Yep. Yeah, they may add it to ends of clips. That's been a request for a long time. Just being able to fade a clip out to black.
That's a good point. Just fading to black. Yep, you can do that now.
So just one last thing, because there's so much I love in here too. Is we were talking yesterday about people that want to add lots of media, like lots of images. That are doing more of a slideshow type of presentation, and just like that was a very long process to do. Add your media, and then you had to add your transitions manually one by one. But or you could say all clips, but just select all your media on your timeline now. Hit T. A hotkey, add your transitions, and it's like that. So
absolutely.
Again, so that speed is just amazing. The things that I think people will be able to do. So let's give you guys a chance. Just another minute. I don't have any other more questions in our queue. So why don't we start wrapping up? If you guys have one last question or so, we can get to that. So Shane, Dave, any last things you guys want to say before we finish up?
Just go use it, because really that's where you really experience the great new benefits of Camtasia Studio 8 is when you really get in there and you start playing with it, and it actually does all the things you're expecting it to do, and it's so easy to actually work with your content, manipulate your content, and really take your creativity to the next level and allow you to create some amazing content but then be able to make that content engaging and interactive is really, really powerful.
Yeah, and I would say just keep talking to us, give us your feedback, let us know what's important to you, and we'll see what we can do.
Awesome. We want to thank Shane and Dave for giving us some of their time. Hopefully this has been informative for you guys to see what's coming in Camtasia Studio 8. Just as a reminder, we hope you share some of your feelings and thoughts, but please hold back on sharing the features until we actually launch. So if you could do that, we'd appreciate it. We are going to be sending you your copy of Camtasia Studio 8. Make sure you get the email filled in so we know who is here so we can do that. And you will get that prior to the launch. So thank you, everybody. Thanks again, Shane, Dave.
Thank you,
again
Matt.
to the Camtasia
Appreciate it.
Studio
Thanks,
team.
everybody, for tuning in today.
Absolutely. Thanks to all the guys that work behind the scene to get this set up. And if you have questions for us, make sure you let us know. And thank you very much. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.